What is up? What is up, YouTube? How y'all doing? Check it out without a doubt. Hey.
Mills, Puff Daddy, whoever, none of these all you
Kim Kardashian didn't just blow up out of nowhere. She was placed in the spotlight, lifted by powerful hands, and one of those hands belongs to a man now sitting on a 50-month sentence tied to trafficking and racketeering. That name, Sean Diddy Combs, a name so toxic in Hollywood right now that people whisper it like it's a warning label. But what folks don't like to admit is just how deep Kim's connection once ran and how fast she sprinted away from it the second things got messy. The moment that heat started closing in, you could see Kim trying to scrub history clean. Fast. It showed up in the timeline, in the sudden wipeouts of old interactions, in the strange digital vanishings, and in that uneasy shine coming off her polished public image. Kim Kardashian isn't just handling a crisis, she's dodging a past that could shake the whole Kardashian empire if it ever cracks open. Everything shifted quietly back in March 2024 when Kim hit that unfollow button on Diddy's Instagram. On paper, it looked like a simple "I'm distancing myself" move, but behind the scenes, that same week, federal agents were kicking down doors at Diddy's homes in Los Angeles and Miami, scooping up evidence tied to a federal case that later expanded into trafficking and racketeering. That timing wasn't random, not even close. Insiders back then were saying Kim's unfollow wasn't petty or dramatic. It was survival. She wasn't cutting off a friend. She was erasing a mistake before it blew back on her. For over a decade, the Kardashians were regulars at Diddy's infamous parties, smiling in pictures beside him, glowing in the lights, networking with every boss in the room like they owned the place. But when those same parties turned into part of a criminal investigation, Kim's silence became loud enough to echo. She didn't say a word, didn't post a thing, didn't defend him one bit. Instead, she unfollowed, then disappeared from her platforms for 2 whole weeks, like she needed time to rewrite the storyline before the internet connected the dots. The fallout got even messier when her ex-husband, father of her 4 kids, and the one person who truly understands how her whole operation works, stepped in during early 2025 with a rant that had the whole internet spinning. He started talking about Hollywood sacrifices, and that phrase alone had social media going wild. They can control LeBron, Jay-Z, Beyonce, he said, but they can't control me. To most people, it sounded like another intense moment, but there was something heavier under it. Ye was threading together ideas about celebrity influence, hidden money moves, and the people who built their success by staying close to power. And when he said Diddy's name out loud, followers instantly started asking what his ex-wife might have known about those same rooms. The message was clear.
Like, I don't know how I would deal as a mom. I'm going to have to.
You're going to have to.
I do.
I was going to say, we're going to get to that. But do you think your mom is unfazed now? Do you think there's anything you actually could do that your mom would be like, actually, what?
I think every time we say that, something comes up and then it's like,
if Diddy represented the darker side of the fame system, then Kim had been sitting right at that same table at one point, and that's when the chain reaction exploded even louder. Ray J, Kim's former boyfriend and the man tied to the tape that launched her career, suddenly jumped back into the headlines. But this wasn't some throwback moment. This was a warning. During a live stream in September 2024, Ray J told millions he was preparing a federal RICO case against Kim and Kris Jenner, dropping claims so wild they triggered an instant defamation lawsuit. The feds are coming, he said. It's about to be worse than Diddy. That line shook the whole internet. The Kardashian lawyer, Alex Spiro, called everything false and serious, but the damage was already out there. Viewers clipped the live stream, blasted it across TikTok, and broke down every second. And the real question everyone kept asking was this: why would Ray J risk another legal battle unless he felt like he had something real behind it? And if Ray J's claims were really empty, why did the family react so fast and so aggressively instead of brushing him off like nothing? That question got even louder when a forgotten piece of footage popped back up. A 2014 episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians that suddenly felt way too revealing. In the clip, Khloe is laughing while telling Kourtney about a wild weekend party. Half the people were naked, she joked, then casually dropped names. Diddy, Quincy Brown, Justin Bieber, French Montana. Back then it played like regular Kardashian chaos, just another reality show moment. But in 2025, that same clip hit completely different. That wasn't a harmless story anymore. It was a timestamp placing the Kardashian sisters deep inside Diddy's circle. And those were the exact same years federal investigators now describe as his most disturbing era. Fans rushed back to old photos. Kim in silver sequins beside Diddy. Khloe's caption saying, "Nothing like a Diddy party." What once looked glamorous suddenly looked risky and messy. Behind the scenes, the vibe in Calabasas shifted from confident to shaky. Kim's public appearances dropped off, interviews got canceled, and insiders whispered she'd become extremely paranoid about leaks and old connections resurfacing. Around that same time, Ye reignited their feud by accusing her of blocking their daughter North from being linked to one of his new projects that used Diddy's music. Then he leaked their private texts, putting everything out there and exposing tension that never truly went away. One post read, "She's hiding behind lawyers," before it disappeared. But by then, the damage had already spread. The fight wasn't just about parenting, it was about image control. Kim couldn't risk even the smallest link, direct or indirect, to a man the FBI now labeled a suspected trafficker. And yes, saw that pressure point instantly, so he kept pushing harder. Right after that, a wave of small public collapses made the whole Kardashian brand look shaky. Kim got dragged online for backing North's viral TikTok videos with fake tattoos and piercings, something many people said looked like a distraction from the darker headlines piling up around her. Then came the lawsuit aimed at Ray J, followed by those official statements accusing him of having reckless disregard for the truth. And then came the moment that changed everything. Kim's on-camera breakdown. During the season 7 premiere of The Kardashians, she sat in a cold exam room and told her family she'd been diagnosed with a brain aneurysm. They were like, "Just stress," she said. But the question no one dared ask out loud was what that stress actually was. Because by that point, Diddy's sentencing was only weeks away. 50 months behind bars, a global scandal, and a witness list that, according to filings, touched names from all corners of entertainment. Kim hit that unfollow button months before the verdict dropped, almost like she already knew what was coming. Insiders claim her team was panicking that she might get subpoenaed.
You know, the thing about the kids at some point here, and not for the younger ones, it's at some point. For North, it's right now, right? That even if she doesn't see it, even if somehow Kim is able to keep that away from her, the kids that her friends at school, they're gonna know about it. They're gonna see it. And it puts the kids in a horrible.
Not as a suspect, but as someone who could confirm how those celebrity circles operated from the inside. Whether that fear was real or imagined, the pressure was heavy enough to make her whole persona look fragile and even her health start slipping. Meanwhile, Ye wasn't slowing down at all. He kept hinting that Hollywood's elite protect each other and that Kim's entire kingdom was built on sacrifices nobody wanted to talk about. For Ye, this wasn't about the marriage anymore. It was about exposure. And the way he moved made it clear he was choosing his timing on purpose. Every time new filings dropped in Diddy's case, Ye's old rant suddenly resurfaced online, pulling Kim's image right back into a storyline she was desperately trying to outrun. By late September, even the most casual spectators were asking the question nobody wanted to touch. Did Kim rise because of her own grind, or was her success built by a network now falling apart under federal investigation? And that's when things took an even darker turn. In a teaser for her reality show, Kim sits at a table, visibly shaken, whispering, "Why is this happening?" The camera holds on her face long enough to feel like something deeper than tiredness. She gave the public explanation: stress from the divorce, co-parenting struggles, the pressure of fame. And sure, it sounded believable. But what if that wasn't the whole truth? What if the real stress had nothing to do with Ye at all? What if it was the fear of what Diddy's trial might uncover? The parties, the guests, the tapes, The names that were never supposed to come out? What if that aneurysm wasn't just bad luck, but the cost of holding secrets while the world she once moved through started collapsing around her? If the first half of this story exposed the cracks in Kim's narrative, the next part is about what's crawling out from under them. Because at this point, it's bigger than a reality star under pressure. It's about an empire built on silence, power, and connections. And once you start tracing the money, the whole thing gets uncomfortable fast. Take the $200,000 a month Kim receives from in child support. On paper, it looks like a standard divorce settlement. But in this context, it starts feeling like something entirely different. And this right here, this isn't just child support. It feels less like child support and more like hush money. A monthly reminder that some secrets are too expensive to slip out. And if that sounds extreme, just look at what Kim allowed her 12-year-old daughter to post online. North, born into fame and raised under a spotlight she never asked for, uploaded a drawing earlier this year that shocked even longtime Kardashian watchers. It was her own take on the cover of Yes Vulture's One album, a cover so intense it had already been removed from multiple platforms. Fans called the drawing unsettling, inappropriate, even strategic. And North's version didn't soften anything. The real question wasn't why she drew it. It was who let her share it. Who decided it was okay for a 12-year-old to push artwork connected to a project his own team labeled explicit, unless it wasn't about the art at all. Unless the post was a signal. A message from Kim using her daughter as both a shield and a distraction. Every scandal needs something to pull eyes away, and what better distraction than a viral conversation about North's creativity while the adults handle a battle happening behind closed doors? That pattern, deflect, distract, deny, goes way back. Look at Khloe Kardashian's old story about those parties at Diddy's place. In that 2014 clip, she laughed while saying half the guests were naked. Back then, viewers treated it like one more wild Hollywood story, just another chaotic moment from the family show. But hearing it now hits completely differently, especially when she casually mentioned Justin Bieber was there. Bieber was only 20 at the time, barely an adult, surrounded by A-listers twice his age in a house where, by Khloe's own words, half the people weren't even clothed.
They can control Jay-Z and Beyonce.
No, you, man.
But they can't control me. You see, it ain't no name I won't name.
Exactly.
That line used to make viewers laugh. Now it freezes the whole room. Justin Bieber has never spoken about that night. Not once. Kim hasn't either. Khloe hasn't. The only person who ever publicly talked about these gatherings was Diddy himself, and now he's behind bars. And that's exactly why Bieber's name in this storyline is not some random coincidence. It's part of a pattern. Bieber didn't just show up at that party in 2014. He was one of many young stars orbiting Diddy's world during its most powerful era. At 20, Bieber was still carrying the innocent prodigy image, trying to climb out of his first round of tabloid scandals. But behind the scenes, his circle was shifting fast. He started working with producers connected to Diddy's label network, showing up at the same after parties, moving through the same industry corridors. And more importantly, he crossed paths with Kim Kardashian's social ecosystem multiple times. Cameras never caught them side by side, but the photos from that period tell the story. Shared entourages, the same publicists, matching event backdrops, and overlapping rooms that no one ever publicly explained. People always talk about the Diddy circle, but they forget how wide it really was. And Bieber was inside it. By 2025, that detail suddenly mattered again. As Diddy's case expanded, tabloids revived that old clip of Khloe's confession, and Bieber's name was suddenly back in headlines for reasons he did not want. And this time, his silence felt intentional. No comment, no denial, no reaction at all. Insiders said he was focused on his faith, but to many watching, that faith looked a lot like fear, because acknowledging one party means admitting there may have been more. And admitting who else was in those rooms. People who can't afford to speak now. It's important to remember that Bieber's big shift, The moment he publicly rebranded himself as a spiritual, cleaned-up artist happened just months after he quietly cut ties with several older industry mentors, including some who were connected to Diddy's circle. Meanwhile, during that same period, Kim Kardashian was still popping up at those gatherings, still being photographed beside the same faces Bieber was steadily deleting from his world. It almost looks like one person found the exit and the other stayed. And that's what makes Bieber's silence today so unsettling. He knows exactly what those rooms look like. He just refuses to describe them. And now the timeline gets even stranger. In March 2025, Kim unfollowed Diddy. That same exact month, Bieber's name popped back up in tabloid conversations, tied to the resurfaced footage from that 2014 party. That overlap is way too sharp to brush off. Coincidence or coordination? Because when two of the most media-trained people on the planet make sudden moves at the same time, the real question becomes, why? Some entertainment lawyers are already whispering that both their teams may have received quiet warnings, hints that federal investigators were reviewing new evidence. If that's true, then Kim's unfollow wasn't about vibes. It was legal self-protection. And this is where the story starts stretching far beyond one family. If Diddy's conviction is just the first domino, how many more names fall behind him? The same artists and moguls who shaped pop culture, who shared the same stages, magazines, private jets, and brand deals, might soon be connected by a decade-old trail of private events nobody expected to resurface. Kim Kardashian wasn't just at those parties. She was part of the whole system that made those gatherings feel untouchable. And if Justin Bieber, one of the most photographed young stars on the planet, is suddenly back in the conversation as a silent witness, that means this web is deeper, wider, and way more coordinated than anyone wanted to admit. And we can't ignore what his silence signals, because silence is its own kind of confession. When a family built on constant oversharing suddenly stops speaking, that's when people start asking what they're really trying to protect. Insiders who worked with the Kardashians during those early years say certain A-list connections were off limits to mention, especially anything tied to Diddy's events. Those same insiders say that right after the federal raids on Diddy's homes, Kris Jenner ordered a quiet cleanup of every old photo, every video, every caption that connected the family to him. And within days, hundreds of clips were wiped from social media. Coincidence or strategic cleanup? And in the middle of all that chaos, Kim tried to keep things calm on her show. She blamed her brain aneurysm on stress, the divorce, the co-parenting, the pressure of moving forward. But divorces don't usually cause aneurysms. Secrets do. Fear does. The kind of fear that creeps under the skin when you realize your entire legacy is sitting on top of things you can't afford to uncover. Doctors can talk about blood pressure or exhaustion, but insiders close to Kim say the real breaking point wasn't the split from Ye. It was the possibility that her past was finally catching up to her. Because when Diddy's name hit the headlines for trafficking charges, Kim understood instantly that every photo, every memory, every old piece of footage could come back in ways no publicist on earth could contain. We've seen how Kim reacts when the walls close in. She sues, she unfollows, she disappears. The same playbook every time, yet every silence makes the noise even louder. Ray J's threats, Ye's rants, the old Kool TK clips, they all point back to the same shadow she can't erase. Diddy, the one name she now claims she hardly knew, even though the photos say something completely different. The truth might not be in court files. It might be in their timing, their exits, their nervous smiles. And while Ye is dealing with lawsuits, shrinking money, and messy accusations, he keeps circling one idea, that there's a system built to control artists, and Kim was part of it. People call him unstable, but his timing always lands. Every time Kim tries to shift the narrative, Ye drags her right back into the same storm. Diddy's empire, Hollywood's unspoken deals, the cost of staying quiet. When Ye says they can control Jay-Z and Beyonce but not me, it sounds like ego. But what if he's hinting at the network that built and protected stars like Kim in exchange for loyalty? Their tension isn't personal anymore. It's structural. A reality mogul and a fallen rap legend tied to the same shaky foundation. And stuck in the middle is their 12-year-old daughter posting artwork that feels less like innocence and more like a signal. Maybe North has no idea what she's revealing. Maybe Kim does. Maybe that's the whole point. At this stage, the pieces line up into a pattern nobody can pretend not to see anymore. Ye's rants, Ray J's warnings, Diddy's trial, North's drawing, Chloe's old confession, Bieber's silence, Kim's aneurysm. These aren't isolated moments. They're markers on the same map, all pointing to a place way darker than most people want to admit. And it forces a real question. If Kim Kardashian's rise was held together by silence, then what happens when the world stops listening to her and finally pays attention to them? What happens when the voices she tried to outrun start speaking louder than her entire empire? So let me know what you think in the comments. Are we watching the fall of a dynasty right in front of us? Or is this the start of something even bigger? Make sure you hit like, subscribe, share, and drop your thoughts below.
Man, I forgot all about when this first started. She was actually she unfollowed Diddy and everything, man. People was running. They was trying to get away from Diddy. I don't blame you, because I was scared and I was getting away from him too, and I don't even bother him. People saying, you better leave Diddy alone. He gonna send somebody after you. Diddy ain't doing nothing wrong to nobody. He got other people Diddy like, man, forget that. I'm just trying to get home. I'm trying to get up out of here. And he doing that all wrong. Look here, I'm gonna get on up out of here, man. I thought they was gonna talk more about Kanye West. I'm trying to figure out what in the world happening with that. Y'all hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, take a like, take it slow. Tell them Uncle Mike told you so. Peace out.